Welcome to SMR Bitesize. It's Reality Check Wednesday, guys. But before that, if you like what we're doing, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe to the channel. With this year's National Rejoin March set for September the 23rd in London, why not kit yourself out ahead of the big day? You'll find everything you need and more courtesy of our friends at Stay European. All orders over £15 are delivered free, and here's the best bit. As an SMR Bite-Size viewer, you'll get 10% off everything you order. Just enter the code at the checkout. And yep, there's a shop link in the description. Over the past couple of weeks, we've been taking a look at some of the biggest Brexit myths of all, namely that by leaving the EU, we'd be taking back control of our money, borders, and laws. And in this, the final part of our 3-week special, we're going to be looking at those laws. So just what does taking back control of our laws look like 3 years on? Well, yeah, you guessed it. It's pretty much the same story as it was with our borders and money. In short, we haven't, mainly because there's just no need to, but we'll dig down into the specifics for you. One of the major arguments put forward by Brexit supporters was that by leaving the EU, the UK could write its own laws, just for the sake of it, it would seem. So the government agreed to review thousands of these EU-era laws by the end of 2023. To do that, it introduced the retained EU law bill to amend, repeal or replace law that doesn't work for the UK. And the government identified more than 4,800 individual pieces of retained EU law. These covered things like working time directives, equal pay, food labelling and environmental standards. You know, the kind of stuff that a forward-thinking, patriotic Britain sailing out into the blue yonder doesn't need to worry itself with anymore. Yeah. In fact, you might remember this campaign video from now Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, in which he pledged to stick the entire lot of them through the Godzilla of shredders. Yep, it was to be bye-bye or sunset for those pesky EU regulations. Weirdly, though, that's not what's going to happen. Thanks to a combination of those pesky, trouble-making nitpickers in the Lords, and this frankly bizarre admission from Kemi Badenoch,
it is not the bonfire of regulations. We are not arsonists. I'm certainly not an arsonist. I'm a conservative.
Those thousands of laws Rishi's gigantic shredder were looking forward to gobbling up have been whittled down to just 600 the government would maybe like to replace. In short, the bill's been quietly scrapped. You know, a bit like Dominic Raab's daft plan to rewrite the European Convention on Human Rights with his Little England version. Just like bullying dimwit Raab, that appears to have vanished into thin air too. Then, of course, there's the checks and inspections we're supposed to be introducing later this year to products making their way across the channel and into Blighty. Jacob Rees-Mogg himself has admitted that introducing those checks would be an act of national self-harm, which is weird because that would seem to be entirely within the spirit of Brexit then, wouldn't it? Anyway, that aside and back to the retained EU law bill, safe to say that the Mogg ain't happy.
We left. We voted to leave 7 years ago. The Prime Minister promised that he would deal with these laws, that he would give us these reforms, and now a committee is saying that that may not happen, it may not go that far. But does this have an electoral consequence? If you look at the local elections, Sky News has done a survey that showed some of the biggest swings from Conservative to Labour were in wards that had backed Brexit. And there's also the intriguing issue of leadership. We know that Conservative cabinet ministers occasionally think about who might be next. And you do wonder whether it occurs to them that being a staunch Brexiteer, actually delivering on what people want, may help them in the future.
So, while it may be comforting to some to learn that our government aren't a bunch of arsonists, this is hardly music to the ears of the Brexit jihadists. Nope, they still want their bonfire of laws that we in Britain had a direct hand in making. So, the long and short of it would appear to be the only reason they want to see thousands of perfectly good laws and regulations go up in flames is out of nothing more than spite. But hey, let's throw it open. If you, like Mogg & Co, were looking forward to that bonfire of EU regulations, which laws in particular were you looking forward to seeing the back of? What would you put in their place? And while you're at it, don't forget to leave us that hot new evidence that proves the world is actually flat, our every thought and action is actually being controlled by 20-foot lizards, and that the COVID vaccine caused your granddad's testicles to explode. If you enjoyed this video, visit 16millionrising.co.uk, where you can listen to this week's full radio show for free, support us with a donation, buy us a coffee, or subscribe as an early riser. Back tomorrow.